Welcome back to Twitter Files, Part 5, the final installment of Trump's removal from Twitter, tweeted by Barry Weiss today, December 12th. On the morning of January 8th, President Donald Trump, with one remaining strike before being at risk of permanent suspension from Twitter, tweets twice. At 6:46 a.m., he says, "The 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first, and make America great again, will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form." At 7:44 a.m., he tweets, "To all of those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. For years, Twitter had resisted calls, both internal and external, to ban Trump on the grounds that blocking a world leader from the platform or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information that people should be able to see and debate. Our mission is to provide a forum that enables people to be informed and to engage their leaders directly," the company wrote in 2019. Twitter's aim was to protect the public's right to hear from their leaders and to hold them to account. But after January 6th, as Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger have documented, pressure grew both inside and outside of Twitter to ban Trump. There were dissenters inside Twitter. "Maybe because I'm from China," said one employee on January 7th. "I deeply understand how censorship can destroy the public conversation." But voices like that one appear to have been a distinct minority within the company. Across Slack channels, many Twitter employees were upset that Trump hadn't been banned earlier. After January 6th, Twitter employees organized to demand their employer ban Trump. "There's a lot of employee advocacy happening," said one Twitter employee. "We have to do the right thing and ban his account," said one staffer. "It's pretty obvious he's going to try to thread the needle of incitement without violating the rules," said another. In the early afternoon of January 8th, the Washington Post published an open letter signed by over 300 Twitter employees to CEO Jack Dorsey demanding Trump's ban. "We must examine Twitter's complicity in what President-elect Biden has rightly termed insurrection." But the Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Trump had not violated Twitter's policies. "I think we'd have a hard time saying this is incitement," wrote one staffer. "It's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists, we can call them that, right, from Wednesday." Another staffer agreed, "Don't see the incitement angle here. I'm also not seeing clear or coded incitement in the DJT tweet," wrote Anika Navaroli, a Twitter policy official. "I'll respond in the elections channel and say that our team has assessed and found no violations for the DJT one." She does just that. As an FYI, Safety has assessed the DJT tweet above and determined that there is no violation of our policies at this time. Later, Navaroli would testify to the House January 6th committee. "For months, I had been begging and anticipating and attempting to raise the reality that if we made no intervention into what I saw occurring, people were going to die." Next, Twitter's safety team decides that Trump's 7:44 a.m. Eastern Time tweet is also not in violation. They're unequivocal. It's just a clear no vio. It's just to say he's not attending the inauguration. To understand Twitter's decision to ban Trump, we must consider how Twitter deals with other heads of state and political leaders, including in Iran, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. In June of 2018, Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei tweeted, "Israel is a malignant cancerous tumor in the West Asian region that has to be removed and eradicated. It is possible and it will happen." Twitter neither deleted the tweet nor banned the Ayatollah. In October 2020, the former Malaysian Prime Minister said it was a right for Muslims to kill millions of French people. Twitter deleted his tweet for glorifying violence, but he remains on the platform. The tweet below was taken from the Wayback Machine. Muhammadu Buhari, the president of Nigeria, incited violence against pro-Biafra groups. "Those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war," he wrote, "will treat them in the language they understand." Twitter deleted the tweet but didn't ban Buhari. In October 2021, Twitter allowed Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to call on citizens to take up arms against the Tigray region. Twitter allowed the tweet to remain up and did not ban the Prime Minister. In early February 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government threatened to arrest Twitter employees in India and to incarcerate them for up to 7 years after they restored hundreds of accounts that had been critical of him. Twitter did not ban Modi, but Twitter executives did ban Trump, even though key staffers had said that Trump had not incited violence, not even in a coded way. Less than 90 minutes after Twitter employees had determined that Trump's tweets were not in violation of Twitter policy, Vijaya Gadde, Twitter's head of legal, policy, and trust, asked whether it could, in fact, be coded incitement to further violence. A few minutes later, Twitter employees on the scaled enforcement team suggest that Trump's tweet may have violated Twitter's glorification of violence policy. If you interpreted the phrase American patriots to refer to rioters, things escalate from there. Members of that team came to view him as the leader of a terrorist group responsible for violence, deaths comparable to Christian church shooters or Hitler, and on that basis and on the totality of his tweets, he should be deplatformed. 2 hours later, Twitter executives host a 30-minute all-staff meeting. Jack Dorsey and Vijaya Gadde answer staff questions as to why Trump wasn't banned yet. But they make some employees angrier. Multiple Twitter employees have quoted the banality of evil, suggesting that people implementing our policies are like Nazis following orders, relays Yoel Roth to a colleague. Dorsey requested simpler language to explain Trump's suspension. Roth wrote, "God help us. This makes me think he wants to share it publicly." 1 hour later, Twitter announces Trump's permanent suspension due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Many at Twitter were ecstatic and congratulatory. Big props to whoever in trust and safety is sitting there whack-a-moling these Trump accounts. By the next day, employees expressed eagerness to tackle medical misinformation as soon as possible. For the longest time, Twitter's stance was that we aren't the arbiter of truth, wrote another employee, which I respected but never gave me a warm and fuzzy feeling. But Twitter's COO, Parag Agrawal, who would later succeed Dorsey as CEO, told head of security Mudge Zatko, "I think a few of us should brainstorm the ripple effects of Trump's ban." Agrawal added, "Centralized content moderation, in my opinion, has reached a breaking point now." Outside of the United States, Twitter's decision to ban Trump raised alarms, including with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Prime Minister Angela Merkel, and Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Macron told an audience he didn't want to live in a democracy where the key decisions were made by private players. I want it to be decided by a law voted by your representative or by regulation governance, democratically discussed and approved by democratic leaders. Merkel's spokesperson called Twitter's decision to ban Trump from its platform problematic, and added that the freedom of opinion is of elementary significance. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny criticized the ban as an unacceptable act of censorship. Whether you agree with Navalny, Macron, or the executives at Twitter, we hope this latest installment of the Twitter Files gave you insight into that unprecedented decision. From the outset, our goal in investigating this story was to discover and document the steps leading up to the banning of Trump and to put that choice into context. Ultimately, the concerns about Twitter's efforts to censor news about Hunter Biden's laptop, blacklist his favored views, and ban a president aren't about the past choices of executives in a social media company. They're about the power of a handful of people at a private company to influence the public discourse and democracy. After reviewing this release, I personally posted the following on Truth Social. The release of the Twitter Files continues to reaffirm that Trump derangement is a serious mental disorder created by the fake news media, who's extremely dangerous to our country. Their propaganda peddling in deep ties to the most corrupt is no less dangerous than an ongoing act of terrorism on this nation. Do you agree? Thanks for listening.